Welcome to the big show. This is Investing and Trading Live, sponsored by Trading Academy. If you're a first-time listener, thank you for stopping by. As always, I am your host, Josh Lilquist, and I always have my good friend, and he's the stock master, and he is a good pal. He is the one and the only Mr. Al Connickson. Al, how are you doing today?
You know what? I'm feeling pretty good, Josh. Even though it's freezing outside, I'm good. We're nice and warm in here. Got a hot cup of coffee, ready to go.
There you go. It's only as cold as you think it is.
Is that the way it works?
That is true. If you have the right mindset, it's always sunny in Minnesota.
Okay. I'm going to put on a pair of shorts and go outside for lunch.
There you go. I'll watch you. So,
Right.
Al, we could talk about that all day. We could talk about being on the beach, which we probably will be in the next couple of weeks here anyway at one point. But this is a financial show, and we talk about the financial markets, how they work, how stocks work, options, futures, Forex, how to make smart investing decisions in your income accounts. That'd be called a regular trading account. Also in those retirement accounts, 401ks, IRAs, and how to do that with more confidence. And Al, we've had a stellar of a week, a stellar of a November, and a start of a December here. And today's hot takes of the week, we have the S&P 500, obviously getting over $6,000 with the S&P 500. You have the Dow. Wow, the Dow is pretty crazy. Dow topped 45,000 at one point.
For the first time.
For the first time. The NASDAQ right around the 21 and a half or so, 21,400. So the major markets are soaring right now. But I tell you what, Al, the real story out there is Bitcoin.
Oh, wow.
Bitcoin passing and surpassing $100,000 per Bitcoin, actually topping at one point by the time of this show around 104,000. So Bitcoin really soaring over the past since the election, and all the crypto, the majority of the cryptos looking really good. We talk a lot about mobile, HNT, those up very well over the past. Gosh, when you look at mobile, that will hit up over 300% in about a couple days.
Incredible returns.
So some great opportunities out there that are just showing and rising up from above and just bringing opportunities to regular traders and investors.
Yep.
And that could be in trading accounts and retirement accounts. And I want to talk a lot about that here today, because a lot of people just they think they only need to be in mutual funds, or they think they have to have somebody manage their money, and they want to have more control of that. So we're going to talk a lot about being able to control your portfolio. Another hot take of the week, TKO stock around $139 per share, all-time highs for TKO as well, formerly known as WWE, which, as we know here in the metro area, SmackDown is on Friday night. It was just this past week. So great opportunities in the markets. And Al, you're seeing a lot of different potential opportunities as we see coming over the next, you got the Santa Claus rally potential coming up. You got the new year coming up. New year, new people coming in the markets. What are you seeing as some of these great opportunities with these markets?
Yeah, well, you just mentioned several of them, and you also mentioned, the new year coming up, and what does that hold for us? I think if you look politically at what's happening, it bodes well for the market. We're looking at probably a low tax and low regulation environment, which is good for stocks, and probably good for a lot of the companies that haven't done as well as some of them that you mentioned. If you look at the S&P 500, still the majority of the movement of the S&P 500 is from 5 or 6 stocks. And
right.
Those companies have reached levels that are astronomical. Their growth and their performance is kind of built into the stock. So any kind of a glitch there, and we could see some kind of a retracement there.
Well, I think that's a real important thing to talk about, because we talk about these all-time highs with the major markets, but some other major stocks are going up. You got American Express up 113% from really, quite frankly, for about the last year. But like you said, Target is actually over the past, we'll call it 2 months, is down 22%.
Right.
So not everything is going up. So you have to have the right strategy designed for both directions.
Right. And even the companies that do go up, that are great companies that maybe don't even have a glitch, people will take profits. There will be movement in different directions. We know this. The market never is going to move in one direction all the time. So if there's a lot of people out there that are sitting on nice profits, The problem that a lot of people have, and the reason we have such a financial crisis in this country, is that people are not taking their profits when they have them. They have bought into a strategy that Wall Street has kind of pushed on everybody, which is that buy and hold. Don't worry about the price of things. Don't worry about corrections or crashes. Just hold on for 10 or 20 or 30 years and you'll be fine. What that means is that we have a lot of these shorter term profit situations where if you don't take that profit, it can disappear. And then you have to wait maybe a few years for that growth of that particular asset to come back up again. It doesn't hurt to take a profit. And once you take a profit, that's money that's yours to keep. So I guess the bottom line here is
money.
Pardon me?
We call it lunch money.
Yeah, but the bottom line here, Josh, is that you not only want to know how to participate when the market's going up, but now, maybe more so than in the last few years, you need to know how to make sure that money stays with you. That's protection. That's management of your capital. And one of the things that we teach is exactly that. That probably is the most important thing. Excuse me. If you look at any of the professional traders out there, they all have different styles that work for them, but the one thing that they all have in common is that risk management, that capital management. They concentrate more on not losing than on winning, and that's the number one thing that we teach our students.
Yeah, and I think it's a good discussion as well. We should talk a lot about the next couple segments here, so stay tuned for this, is how to protect that capital. Yeah. Because everybody knows you're going to have small losses in the market if you know what you're doing properly.
Sure.
Because you want to keep those losses small and have those gains much larger. In essence, over time, helps you keep more of your money. And you don't even have to be right every time. That's the great thing about trading and investing is you don't have to be right every time when you have the proper strategy. You can have strategies where maybe you're right half the time, or maybe 40%, or it could even be 30% based on how you do your capital management. And we talk a lot about that in these investing classes and trading classes that we do right here at the Academy, is how to have a strategy that's designed to have low risk, high reward, high probability entry points in the financial markets. Where you find that is actually at or near a turn in price. Okay. And that's supply and demand at its finest. So to come into one of these free trading and investing classes, simply just text the word investing to the number 210, and that's for 2 seats for a trading and investing class near you. We have these classes at our state-of-the-art facility right here in Bloomington. We're all across the metro, Edina. We have locations in Wayzata, Maple Grove, Woodbury. So we're coming to a neighborhood near you. So text the word investing to the number 210. That's for 2 seats, one for you and one for a friend. Or go to tradingacademy.com and you can pick your own seats there. That's tradingacademy.com and you can pick your own seats there. We have classes during the week and the weekends. Al, I think we got a lot to discuss here. It's going to be a good show here. Stay tuned. We're going to talk more about how to keep your profits, how to protect those, how to have strategies for up and down markets, but also how to have capital efficiency. This is Josh and Al, Investing and Trading Live. We will be right back. So we will stay live on the YouTube. Didn't get a chance to say hello to everybody. Let's look at that right quick since we're talking about it. And good morning. All right, so we've got to make a little edit here. Take that out?
Mm-hmm. Let's do that.
You gonna make it there, buddy?
No, I almost died. There
we go. What do you got for your next segment, Al?
Well, we kind of
gave a little teaser.
We opened that first section with you mentioning income and retirement accounts, or income and wealth. So let's talk a little bit about that and what the differences are.
Okay. And today is Thursday, right? So 12/6. Mm-hmm. If you have questions in the YouTube stream, just type any questions in the YouTube and we'll answer them here for you. All right, segment 2's got 1450. All right, segment 2, here we go. Welcome back to Investing and Trading Live, sponsored by Trading Academy. Once again, as always, I am your host, Josh Lilquist, with my good friend and my good pal, Al Connickson, and talking about the do's and the don'ts of the financial markets, how they work, how to have strategies for up and down markets. But as we know, we talked about in the first segment, we had some blockbuster moves. This was stocks and with crypto over the past few weeks here. So we're going to continue that discussion here today. If you did miss seats for that free trading and investing class, we're getting a lot of folks, Al, that are coming into these classes that have been investing for a while and they want to have more control or more consistency, but also some new people that are looking to get started as well. So to come into one of these free trading and investing classes, we have these all across the metro. You can just text the word investing, and that's going to be to the number 210. 210, that's for 2 seats, one for you and a friend, for a free trading and investing class near you, talking about the stocks, options, futures, Forex markets, and how to make smart investing and trading decisions within them. So, Al, since we did talk about in that last segment with the S&P 500, the Dow, the NASDAQ, Bitcoin hitting all-time highs. Well, actually, NASDAQ I don't think hit all-time highs, but Bitcoin 100,000, the Dow 45,000, the S&P 500 21.5, I believe we hit. So just some the S&P 500 6,000. I was talking about the NASDAQ 21.5. So that being said, not everything is going straight up, as we talked about in that last segment as well. You have Target, ticker symbol TGT, down over 20% over the last, we'll say, few months here. And quite frankly, over the past, since April, Target is actually down about 30%. So not everything is going up. You have TKO hitting all-time highs. GE is looking pretty good. You have GE near $175 per share. Caterpillar almost $400 per share. And some of the banking stocks are also doing well. So there are a lot of stocks that are doing well. Same thing with Meta. You got Tesla, not quite at all-time highs, but really surging over the past few weeks here. Nvidia back up to $144 per share, so looking pretty good there. So a lot of that is driven by what's happening in the world a little bit, but it's all about supply and demand. And it's being able to use correlations as well. You have the dollar, which kind of runs a lot of it. The dollar at about 105.80. So the dollar surging about, we'll call it 6%, which is a big move for the dollar over the past couple months. So being able to use these correlations in your income and trading or in investing is important, because we talk a lot about keeping your money. And if you can add odds and probabilities in your favor, that's how you keep more of your money. You need a strategy that's designed to do that. And then, as we talked about in that last segment, you don't have to be right every single time.
Right.
So you have a strategy for odds, probabilities, risk management, and that is what we've been seeing. So many people that have been coming to these trading and investing classes that we're having, they're becoming to say, you know what, I can actually be comfortable doing this by myself. And I want to talk a lot about that, because we have a lot of people that want to have, hopefully they've been doing decent trading, but they've probably had a bad experience in the past, so they really don't feel comfortable doing that. Let's talk about how to keep more of your money, especially in your income type trading.
Right. Yeah, I think you mentioned something there that's important. You mentioned their past, and I think a lot of people that are afraid of being in the market maybe have done something previously that hasn't worked out, and they're concerned that that's going to happen
Or they've
again.
seen somebody else or heard of it in the past.
Yeah, but I think the point to remember there is that if you go back and you look at what happened that either you did wrong or somebody else did wrong, there's a reason for it. They did something that wasn't in their best interest. They made a mistake in some way. So that doesn't mean that everything you do in the future is going to fail. In fact, one of the things that I think is important for our students here at the Academy is that we kind of mentor you. We kind of give you support and guidance beyond the education part of it. There's a lot of places out there where people can get knowledge. People can look at things on YouTube. You can go to webinars, seminars, get newsletters. There's all sorts of knowledge there. The problem is most people have a problem transitioning that from knowledge to actionable trades. And there's a big difference there. And you have to develop the skills to be able to use whatever knowledge you have. Let's keep it simple. What we find, Josh, is a lot of people subscribe to too many things. I talked to somebody last week that had 10 different investment newsletters, so many of them that he just basically never used any of them because he couldn't figure out which one to use, which strategy to use.
That's kind of like all the sports podcasts that I subscribe to, and I don't listen to any of them.
Yeah, exactly.
Because it just confuses me. They all have different opinions, right?
Yeah, no, that's exactly right. What are opinions? They're just guesses about something that might happen. What's important, and you mentioned something else, I think, in that first section about the turning point in price. And that really is the most important thing. If you can identify when price is going to turn, when it's going to start going in a different direction, and then also identify if it's going to go far enough in the new direction to provide a profit, those are the two things that are really important. Why do things change? Why do turning points happen? It's because institutions with a lot of money or hedge funds or people like Warren Buffett are putting huge amounts of money into a position. Warren Buffett oftentimes will put 10, 15, 20 billion dollars into one position. That's going to move the market. But here's the great thing for us, and this is one of the things that we use to our advantage. It's a disadvantage to Warren Buffett that he has that much money to invest. It's a disadvantage to the hedge funds and companies like Goldman Sachs or JP Morgan or Merrill Lynch because they have so much money to invest. They can't invest it all at one time and get the price that they want. We'll kind of explain this in these classes that Josh is going to be talking about. But what we can do is we can use little clues that they're giving us in a price chart. The key to being successful is being able to read a price chart. Everything you need to know is there. And once you can read that price chart and you can identify where turning points are going to happen, and that's kind of forward-looking. What we're looking for, we don't care about knowing what happened in the past because that's the past. You can't do anything about that. But what if you could identify in the future where there was a high probability of someone like Warren Buffett or an institution placing a trade so you could be set? Once that trade has been placed, and a lot of people just look at volume. I've heard a lot of people come in and say, well, all I do is I look at volume. When I see the volume of something...
And that's buyers and sellers.
Yeah. But also, once you see that volume, the price has already started to move. So you're missing out on a good part of the movement there.
Yeah.
So you want to be able to be in that position before the volume hits. Let the other people out there, the public, create a profit for you because you're already set in that position.
Yeah, and I think we have a lot of listeners, Al, that want to be able to start to increase their odds, probabilities, and they want to start to build that skill, as you mentioned earlier. All the knowledge in the world is pretty much worthless if you can't apply it.
Right.
And that's why we have physical classes here at Trading Academy, right here in Bloomington and all across the metro area. So we've been hearing from people that are coming into these classes. They've been searching for a place to go,
right.
A place to go hands-on that actually has other people there, not just a webinar or something. So I want to invite people to one of these trading and investing classes. They're free right here in Bloomington or in our mother locations here in the metro, just by texting the word trading to the number 210-210, and that's for 2 seats. Text trading to the number 210-210. That's TRADING, trading to the number 210 for 2 seats for a trading and investing class here in Bloomington or across the metro. You can also go to tradingacademy.com and you can pick your own seats there. That's tradingacademy.com. So, Al, I think that's important to continue to discuss that. You mentioned it's an advantage for us when big institutions, hedge funds, big money, the Buffetts of the world, the Goldman Sachs, when they're trying to get in and out of positions, they call it they're buying in blocks.
Right.
So they're buying in a huge chunk of money, but they can't get that same price, and we call them zones. So how do we identify that? Is there how do you add your increase your odds with that, and how does that when you have a zone? How does that minimize your risk, but also keep you more comfortable knowing that you're protected?
Yeah, well, it minimizes your risk because you're identifying an area, whether you're buying or selling. A buy area would be what we call a demand zone. A sell area would be what we call a supply zone. If you can identify those zones, you have a much greater chance of entering a position where it has the least potential to go down and the least potential to go down a lot. I mean, a lot of people just watch something. They look at a company. They think this is a great company. The stock is taking a bit of a hit. I'm just going to jump in, and they jump in at a price where it hasn't stopped going down. So that zone, that demand zone, should be an area where we have identified, based on what the institutions are showing us, where they're going to start buying and moving the price in a different direction. And once a company or a person like Warren Buffett, once they start taking a position, they're going to protect that position. They're going to try to continue to have that position grow. So you want to be in early in that process, which means you have to identify the first part of their trades, the first part of their movement that's going to move the price of something. And that's what these zones are. Our core strategy, which helps us to identify those zones, that's the core part of the core strategy, was put together by guys that worked on Wall Street. There were floor traders, maybe hedge fund managers. These are guys that were trading with such large amounts that they know what moves price. So that was all kind of put into our core strategy. It's a 6-step process. And the great thing about that is that it cuts out one of the biggest impediments to you being successful, and that's your emotions. That's your brain and your gut. You have to take the emotions out of your decision-making process, or being a human being, you will mess things up. And part of the way we do that is to have you follow that rules-based 6-step process for whatever you're trading. No matter what you're trading, that 6 steps should get you to the point where you can identify with a high degree of accuracy that area where there's going to be a turning point, whether it's a turning point from going down to start going up or from going up to start going down. You need to be able to identify both of those to have the opportunity to be successful.
Well, think about the market. And for those of you that are watching live on the YouTube stream right now, by the way, if you're watching live or would like to watch Wyatt live, just go to Josh Lilquist on YouTube. But if you're thinking about how the market moves, think about an accordion. Right, you have an accordion player, and their hands go out, and then they push it in. Their hands go out, and then they push it in. That's really what the market does. It's almost like it's breathing. It goes up, then it comes down a little bit. It goes up, comes down a little bit, and that's how the market works. And when you're able to identify where that accordion player is about to start, have the hands out wide, and then start to push it closer, that would be like it's going up, right? So there's steam put into the market. And there's buyers coming in there. So you identify that turning point when it's going to change that direction. And then you have proper capital management around it. And how you do that is by having a zone. What a zone would be, as Al was just alluding to it, it's like having protection on both sides. So let's just say you want to get in at $10, but your protection is at $8. So you have a $2 risk. So you minimize that risk and then a much higher reward. So maybe your target is at 13 or 14 or 15. So you have a much larger reward for that. That's how you minimize your risk, but that's how you have more consistency in the markets, because then you don't have to be right every single time. And we illustrate that for you in these trading and investing classes that are free here at the Academy to help you get started. We have these classes, they're free so you can have more confidence. I know there's a lot of garbage out there. And we've been hearing people are really refreshed, Al, that they come in here like, this is actually a regular place. This is a place in Bloomington. It's not this crazy weird place that you would think it's online or something. It's a physical place to go to learn how the markets work, how to trade, how to invest, how to make smart decisions, and do that with more confidence. So I want to invite everybody to a free trading and investing class. And since it's the giving time of year, I'm going to give away a free class here. These classes are about 2 hours long. So it's 2 hours of your day. It could be during the morning, it could be in the afternoon. We have some in the evenings and on the weekends. So basically what that means is anybody can attend. So by coming into one of these classes, you just text the word investing to the number 210, and that's going to be for 2 seats. A lot of people bring their spouse or significant other, especially if you do your financial decisions together. Let's have this a family affair. Text the word investing to the number 210 for 2 seats for a free trading and investing class right here in Bloomington or at our other locations all across the metro. Al, we have a lot more to discuss. I think we've talked a little bit about the income strategies, how to minimize risk there, but I think it's so important with what's going on in these markets to protect those wealth buckets. There was a stat on Market Watch said there's more millennial millionaires now. Well, if that's the case, it's time to start keeping that. Yep. This is Josh and Al, Investing and Trading Live. We will be right back.